Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch. As I like to say, every once in a while we talk about something else crafty, but I am knee deep in cross stitch have been for quite some time. So today it is all cross stitch. If you are new, I want to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play and giving my channel a try. I hope you like what you see. Hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and yeah, let's jump on in and talk stitching stuff with you. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for your friendship, for your kindness, for your support, for everything over, well, in 2022 in general, but just in my entire Flosstube sort of experience. I am so grateful for each and every one of you, and it was never more apparent than it has been in the last, I'd say, 2 months. So thank you so much. And let's do some stitching, actually, some stitchy talk. I'm a little bit discombobulated this morning. I got Mo all situated. I'll talk about his surgery later on. So now it's a little bit of me time, and I'm having a little trouble flipping that switch a little bit. So we'll breathe. And now let's go to stitching. Okay. So I have 8 projects to show you. One that was a start and a finish, you know which project that is, and then just a whole bunch of different things I've touched. 2 of which I don't think have seen any work at all in the course of 2022. So if you've just been with me a little bit a while, they might be new projects that you've not seen before. I probably carry about, I don't know, I haven't counted since January when I did that video. I generally carry about 35 open projects-ish, sort of. After starting a bunch more full coverage in May, that number might be closer to 40. I'm not sure exactly. It's funny though, because when I look at my projects, sometimes when I'm flipping through to just pick something out, it doesn't feel like I have that many open projects. So I don't know, go figure. But anyway, so some that you have been seeing, some that you may not, so a little bit of variety. And we have the handy dandy iPad here because I have probably half and half digital as well, a little bit more digital than paper copies. Okay, so first thing I did was, remember, just as a reminder, my focus, but not my only focus potentially, June, July, maybe August, I don't know, is bright colors, beachy, nautical. And the beachy nautical doesn't necessarily have to be bright, but anything, you know, that's kind of cheering me up, basically, and being cheerful is basically my theme as much as I can get. So if this one doesn't scream cheerfulness and brightness and happiness, I'm not sure what it is. I did more work on this full coverage, but I did pull out a second one near the end of the week that I'll show you later on. But most of my work, not that you're gonna see, because we're still in the upper left corner, that I've been working on is Mini Sunflower Cottage, right? I always wanna call it garden, I'm not sure why. Mini Sunflower Cottage. The artist is Dona Gelsinger. And like I said, I'm up here. I still haven't seen anything besides the blues and then those little, the colors that are in those kind of heart-ish, bubbly sort of things. So this pile is gonna fall, I have a feeling. Let me fold this over since I'm only still in that corner. You don't need to see the full half of the top. There I am. That's it. So I did get a decent amount of progress. This is an 18 count white aida, 2 strands over 1 full cross. And I came across this way. I believe I finished this, and then I worked my way down here, and I am solidly in here. I don't work in, it's kind of a pseudo diagonal, but nothing that regimented. You'll see on my other project, I'm all over the place altogether. I think what I wanted, my reasoning here was I would do some fill-in and some of the actual filled-in stuff, and then work on something that was some color changes, and then fill in and back and forth, just so I felt like I could get progress in both. It means that the progress is spread out a little bit, but it's getting there. I'm super excited to continue working on this. I know somebody had mentioned, I'm sorry who it was in the comments, last time I showed this, that there is a stitch along. Stitchman Darcy, I believe, has got it started along with somebody else. I don't know. I did a quick jump in on his latest video and he showed it, but he hadn't stitched on it. I don't remember who he said, and I honestly don't even remember what the name of the stitch along is. Could be just Sunflower Cottage SAL, right? I don't know. I'll look it up. And if I can find it readily, I'll put it in the description box below, just so you can see it. Especially if you want to see other versions of this. I think he's stitching the full-sized. I'm stitching the mini. I thought it would be fine, translate fine to a mini. So this one now will get a little bit of a break. I'll continue working on the project that you'll see next. And then there's a project that I haven't worked on in a while that I'd like to get back to with full coverage. So this will just enter into a kind of a rotation. So that's where we are on Sunflower Cottage Mini. Okay. Next. Now I do know, oops, this was upside down. I do know the hashtag for this stitch along because I'm the one that started it. Next project is Serena Sprout from Autumn Lane Stitchery. It's hashtag Serena Sprout SAL. And like, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this. I don't remember sometimes who I've said things to, but there is a beautiful yellow that somebody on Instagram posted to the hashtag too that they're working on. So there's different colors that you can see this one on. There's a few of us working on it. So if you check out that hashtag on Instagram, you'd see a few. And this just wants to keep falling. I'm gonna turn it this way. Okay, here we are. That's where I am. 18 count Honeydew Melon. You get to see Honeydew Melon twice this week. I was thinking as I was making my notes, I have 3 projects on Honeydew right now. I should do all of them in a week and then show you all the different things you can do on the same color. Well, you know, me and my color experiments, right? Maybe, that might be something in the future. Anyway, there's Serena, and I worked heavily over here. I worked on this, and I might have thrown in, especially if I was doing the different greens, there's bunches of stuff thrown around elsewhere. So I could very well have stitched some other places and just not remembered. But that's where it is. I'm super excited to get some more color in. Can't wait to do her long big dress. I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. And on this side, the flower, let me show you the color of the flower. Look at those pinks. Isn't that gonna be so pretty? Those pinks are beautiful. What drew me to this pattern was the colors. I just loved well, I love purple to begin with. And I really just love all kind of bright colors, but the purples and the pinks just really just popped right out. And it looked, you know, the sample that they show is done on a green. I think they use Friendship Green from Fabric by Stephanie. And it just, everything just popped and looked so springy and so bright that was what drew me to the pattern. So I know some of you have started it. Some of you are thinking about starting it. Let me know if you do. I really want to know what you're working, what fabric you're working on and how you're doing it. So that's it. That's Serena Sprout. Okay. Now let's see if I can move this one without sending everything flying. There we go. Okay. One of these days, I will actually have everything on the desk rather than on the TV tray table in front of me. And so I won't have to reach everything. Right now though, if I did it against that wall, because there's nothing on the wall but this color, it would look very depressing. I thought maybe this angle at least looks a little bit more cheerful. Because Mo got hurt, my whole organizational project kind of ground to a halt because we need to make a trip to IKEA. And we're thinking, I think there's one in, for my Maryland friends, is there one in Annapolis? We were thinking maybe taking a trip to that one. I don't think it's much farther than the one up in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania. So I think it's 6 of one, half dozen of another. So we just figured we might take a trip, but he has to be better before we do that. So that's a little bit on hold for a bit. So you're stuck facing this direction for a little bit longer. Next, this project, I am, you know, I'm just gonna say, I don't think I stitched on it in 2022. I'd be shocked if I did, because I really don't remember stitching on it in 2022. I like the pattern and it's a lot of fun. I just, you know, it got kind of stuck behind other things. And since now I'm thinking about Beachy and nautical and all that kind of stuff, I pulled out the Nubble from By the Bay Needleart. If you are anywhere near Maine, you will recognize Nubble Lighthouse, I assume. And I know, if you've been with me when I started this, I know I've told this story, but for years and years and years, we went to a gunquet with the kids, and one of the most favorite things that they enjoyed doing was we would always take, sometimes it was twice, and you know, we'd be there for a week, but at least once we would go to Nubble, and you know, you've got the lighthouses across the water, and then you've got a huge area of rocks, and the kids loved climbing on the rocks. And we would just spend an afternoon kind of, you know, we'd go there. They had a little gift shop, and there's a restaurant there. We never went there, but right up the road then too, there was an ice cream place. So the kids would always get ice cream, and it was just one of my most favorite memories. And I can't tell you how many pictures I have of this. I meant to look, but I've taken this exact picture because I would do it every year. I'd bring my camera and I'd take pictures. And every year, this picture, or something very similar to it, would be part of my vacation pictures, because I absolutely loved the whole look of it. So when I saw this on By the Bay, I knew I had to buy it. Now I went simple with the fabric. I did just do an 18 count white Aida. That's it. I loved the colors that she was using for the background, and so I decided I wanted to keep it that way. Now, if I had to do it again, I was recently watching Mary from Mary's Stitching Corner, and she has done a couple of projects on, it's essentially white. Is it like, Mary, is it Stormy Cloud, Stormy, it's Stormy something. And it just has kind of a beautiful like coloring to it, which I think would have worked nicely, and it still would have, I could have done the kind of the background clouds of this pattern with it. So if I had to do it again, I might have done that, but I like it with the white. It's just going to be that classic look that I kind of have in my memory, but it certainly could have done, like if I wanted to do like, you know, because we were most of the time there on a beautiful sunny day, so if I had wanted to do some sort of, you know, light blue background, all of this would have worked too, and it would have kind of made me think of that, but it's fine. I did have a little bit, and maybe that's why I put this away. I had miscounted somewhere over here, and so a little bit was in the wrong position, and when I came back to stitching some of this, I counted it off the wrong thing, which I stopped. I said, wait a minute, something's wrong. And I thought about keeping it, but this whole piece comes all the way across and then comes over to the lighthouse. So I would be kind of finagling and fixing it all the way over. So I said it wasn't, to me, the amount of time to take out a strand, I think it was just a strand, you know, a full strand, but one strand, that was worth it than trying to keep counting and figuring out what I was doing. So we had a little bit of a hitch when I started this, but then we got back to it. So that's what it looks like right there. This is the only By the Bay Needleart I have. It's a little old school. It's actually a picture that goes with it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I don't know what I'm going to do with this one. There's a lot of memories attached to, like I said, to this, so we'll have to see. I'm curious. Sometimes it's really funny. I don't know, for those of you who have, let me see if it comes up. No, sometimes when I turn on my iPad, there'll be in one section, there's pictures, and very often there's a picture of the kids at Nubble Lighthouse on the rocks, but unfortunately, this is the one, usually it's this really cute picture of Shamrock. oh gosh, it was probably 6 years ago. It was around 2016. So he would have been maybe 5 or 6, not sure. And we had Megan's field hockey gear. I don't know why. I'm not sure. Was it an Olympics thing? I don't even know. But we had like the stick and the ball in front of him, and we had kind of her headgear. And he's got his head down and he looks really grumpy. And it makes me smile every single time that's the picture that pops up. But yeah, of course, that one, I would have showed you that one if it had popped up as well. Because he just looks so grumpy, a grumpalumpus there. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Let's see if I can show you. These are the rocks and Nubble Light, and there's the kids. Many years ago now. I think we even have, Cottage has braces and short hair and everything. So that was a long time ago. But we, like I said, I have pictures of the kids on the rocks at Nubble. Boy, from when they're small all the way up to when they were teenagers. So this one means a lot to me. So hopefully I will continue working on this summer, because it'd be nice to get a little bit farther on it. It's been hanging around because, like I said, it just got kind of stuck behind things. Okay, this next one, I can guarantee almost pretty much that it also, 2022, did not see any light of day. This one I started, boy, I think I started this 2 years ago, because it's, is there a copyright date? Not on the piece that I have. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I started this in 2020. So this really, I kind of take it out about mid-June, and I work on it till about 4th of July because it's patriotic, and then I put it away. And it too gets caught behind things, and then you don't see it. So this one needs some work, absolutely needs some work. It's Long May She Wave. I'm stitching by the Housewives. I did change. You're going to see, there's no chicken here. There will not be a chicken there. I don't have anything against chickens. It's not part of my decor. It's not anything I would generally stitch. No offense to Coffee Stitcher. He does like the chickens, but he doesn't watch my channel, so he's never gonna know I'm taking out all the chickens. Depending on the size, because I don't know how much room I have between the top of the truck and the flag, I might try to put like a little doggy sitting, you know, kind of shamrock-ishy, but I don't know how well I can fit that in. So if it won't fit without looking kind of silly, I won't do it. I'll keep it plain. Otherwise, I will put one in. What I did was the flower here, I extended it up a bit. The flower that this bottom chicken is standing on. I changed a little bit on the side here where those were, and then the flower stem is a little bit higher. So it doesn't look like there's not a big space in between there anymore. Now this fabric, it's funny. Yes, this was started 2020 because this was the first time I had gotten into hand-dyed fabrics. But what I didn't realize the difference between Charles Craft and Zweigart. So this is a Charles Craft. It's not my favorite. I will admit, I do prefer the Zweigart. And so I don't generally buy Charles Craft unless it was a color that I absolutely had to have, and it was the only option I had. I'll buy the Zweigart. And I did have some problems with this company. After I had ordered, I tried ordering again, and it was a disaster. So I haven't really gotten much from them since. And I don't know what their Zweigart is like. But this is a Charles Craft. And so I think you can kind of see through it. I'm not sure. This is just a plain, it's a navy. And the company is called Garibaldis. I don't know if they're still on Etsy or not. I know, again, they had a rough patch and they were getting a lot of, I always feel bad. I don't like give things 1 stars or 2 stars. I just feel bad. But they did get a rash of 1 and 2 stars. So I think for a while they might have gone off of Etsy. So I honestly don't know what their status is at all. But I prefer navies to stitching on the black. Sometimes I feel like the blues will bring the colors up and out in a different way. Once in a blue moon, I will stitch on black, but a lot of times I like to do deeper, darker colors that will help let the other colors kind of come through differently than they would on a black. So that's why I use the navy. So you can see here, this is up farther than it is in the picture. So there's a little space there, but I don't feel like that bothers me at all. This is the space here that if I can find, I may put a little dog, but honestly, it's not that big a space. And I mean, this is a fairly busy piece. I mean, when you get over here, look at all this. I'm not really sure you're really gonna notice because there's so much activity over here that having the flag, the distance between the flag and the truck here is not gonna make that much of a big deal. I am just using the DMC alternatives. I think I did use their called for, because this was at a time when I was exploring changing fabrics, but I hadn't really changed colors so much. I don't know if I would have changed anything anyway. I'm fine with the colors in this. But now I totally will change the fabric, you know that. But also I've gotten a little bit more adventurous. Sometimes if a shade doesn't always work, I may change it. I don't change it necessarily before I stitch it on a piece though, because it's funny, sometimes what it looks like in the skein, I think to myself, gosh, that's never really gonna look good in this. And then you stitch it and you say, oh, okay, it actually does work. So I do sometimes will wait and stitch something, start it. And if when I've started stitching it, it says, whoa, no, 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 then I might pull it out and try something different. And that's where I'm telling you, I love, love, love my DMC chart with all of the colors. This is such a great investment and has helped me a lot. And so when I need to look for a certain color, you know, I'm just going to put it over here so it doesn't fall. When I need a certain color, I go right to that now, and it has just been so useful. But anyway, that's what it looks like. So it's got some changes. I'll probably work on it again this week. This was another one I had a mistake in, and I didn't realize it. And so I was working down here, and I had miscounted over here by the part of the wheel and part over here on the truck. And I did have to pull some stuff out because it wouldn't have looked right. So I lost some stitching time, having to pull out some stitches, and it took me ages to figure out where. I knew it was wrong. It wasn't lining up, but no matter how many times I looked at it, I couldn't find it. It was like my eyes just wouldn't see what was wrong. So eventually I did find it. I did pull some stuff out, restitched. So that took some time. And then I'm working on filling in the truck and then just work here. And then I'll work my way across. She does have, I don't know if they're supposed to be little flowers. There's a bunch of little tiny flowers all around here. I may not, you know, I'm fairly minimalist, so I may not add them all in. I might add a few stray ones here or there. Like I did these, I did the white part of those, but I don't really know if I feel like I need to add them everywhere. I'm definitely one that a little bit less is more for my kind of brain. So that might also be a change I'll make, and I'll let you know if I do. But that's where that one is. So yes, it needs a little bit of work. So at least another couple weeks, and then we'll adjust, because there's so many other things I want to stitch over this summer. That's the problem, right? You have so many projects you like that some of them get put by the wayside. But at some point I do need to make this a focus piece. Otherwise it'll be 10 years before I get it done. And it's not like it's this huge giant heaven and earth design that, okay, 10 years, okay, whatever. But no, I mean, it's small enough. I can get it done. Now, my teeny tiny start and finish. Halloween calendar from Tiny Modernist. You know I'm stitching them all as single pieces. I did day 16. So this little guy right here. Now, the only thing I didn't do was, you notice how he's got little back stitching over on his face there. You know, and that's the you know, the normal thing you see, you know, with Frankenstein or whatever, or he's got that. Over on this, on his wrists, he also has it. I made the executive decision not to put those in. I only just did it up on his forehead. And it was this color's turn. So this is an 18 count Storm from Picture This Plus. And there he is. He's tiny. He's super cute. I didn't mention actually, when somebody was talking about making these into I think it was magnets, she said she was going to use perforated paper, which is another great way if you wanted to make them as ornaments or magnets or something else and you didn't want to necessarily use fabric. Perforated paper is a good idea. So I liked that idea too. But there he is. So he's done. So now we've got this number here, number 17. I think the next, so I go back and forth with 3 colors and then once in a while I throw in black. So I think day 20 will be the next one that I use the black fabric for. Day 20, day 25, and day 29, where they're all kind of focused on that. I think that those white colors will pop on the black. And then otherwise we'll just keep going. I can't remember which is the next day for day 17. I'm at the point now, I should probably just make notes. But I have to take all the ones I have finished out and count, okay, what day am I on and what color am I on? So I know that's what's gonna happen this time around as well. So will I do the start and the finish each week? Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I mean, something like day 18, that would be pretty easy. I probably could. But some of these, it may not get a full finish in the course of 1 week. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how much I'm stuck at home, right? Over the next several weeks. That will dictate probably more than anything else. Okay. My next full coverage. Let's go back here. I couldn't stay away from this one. I love this one. And so I pulled it out. It was maybe Wednesday afternoon for a little bit. I thought I was going to do some more stitching yesterday. And I did a little in the morning because Mo actually ended up having to go into the hospital later than we thought. So I did a tiny bit yesterday morning. But I stitched this up here in kind of my crafty area. And so after he came back from the hospital, I wanted to stay downstairs. And these projects, there's a lot to them, so I don't generally transport them. I usually do something smaller when I'm working on, doing stuff downstairs. So there we go. It is Mini Paris Morning. Artwork is Uliana Babenko, is the artist. And I love, love, love this little doggy. It is going to be years before I get to it. I'm calling it a him because Shamrock was a little boy. As usual, I am up here, and this time there's not a huge amount of progress necessarily because I did start to tackle a little bit more of the confetti because now that I've done some of the big chunks, we are now much more heavily into the confetti there. Every once in a while, there's at least a strand of something, and I got tired of doing this, and I jumped over there and did a little bit of that blue, which is sky. But I did some confetti here, I worked on some here and some in there. So, like I said, it doesn't look like much, but it got some working time just to get. And I had gotten, there was one color I didn't have, which I did end up getting, so I was able to fill in a bit more here. And then I just started, I wanted to do a little bit of this color. So this is just dipping my toe into page 2. But as you can see, I'm all over the place. I don't necessarily feel the need to fill a block before I go to a next one. It's all by feel. What color do I want to stitch? Do I want to stitch a strand? Find something that I can do more of a full strand? Am I on board for some confetti? It's a little bit of everything. So you're not going to see any rhyme or reason. But that's that one. So I will give this project some attention this week. I may have to, depending on what Mo's status is, I might have to maybe pick colors that are in that general area if I want to bring it downstairs. We'll see. I have, where I am at the moment, I can set out some of the colors that I'm using, and from day to day just leave them out, which is kind of convenient, so this way I don't have to clean everything up. So that's why I like doing these up here. But right now everything's kind of in turmoil, so we'll stitch where we can, right? There's going to be card stitching, I'm sure, once physical therapy starts too. So that's where that one is. Mini Paris Morning. All right. Next. I wasn't necessarily planning on stitching on this one this week. I really wasn't. But I just felt like it. I can't remember what day. It was later on, closer, last couple days. I can't remember. It wasn't yesterday. Yesterday was I stitched on one thing, which will be the last piece you see. So it was, maybe Wednesday, maybe, I don't know. But here on the beach from Stitcherovia, I decided I just wanted to get, some more of the blocks. So I focused, I'm down here in this sunbather right here. So that's where you're gonna see most of it. Oh, and we have a little bit of a extra strand. So there it is. I did, let's fold this a little bit so we can get down a little bit farther where I am for a minute, and then I'll show you. I don't know why, but I felt like doing a little bit off of this beach umbrella. So I did do a few colors here. And then I said to myself, why are you doing that? Let's finish this one first and then kind of do a combo, sometimes this way kind of work. So I went back and am I completely finished? Let me see. Nope, I have 2 stray stitches, but I am 99.9% finished with this person right here. And then I continued to do some more of the beach umbrella. What I really like with this and what she does is how she weaves in with the umbrellas, especially ones that go into the people, how she weaves the colors. So if you're stitching it by itself, you wouldn't notice, but once the umbrella gets there, how it's basically like the shade of the umbrella and how it changes. And it's all DMC. So that's why you have a lot of the changes of color, but it definitely gives it that depth and a little bit more life and not so flat, because she really gets into the depth of it. This is an 18 count beach sand from To Die For Fabrics. So that's that one. I don't know now. I've given it a couple different weeks. And yes, somebody did ask, is it, oh, I just dropped a bunch of things. When I get to that part of what I want to talk to you about, I'm going to leave the frame for a minute. This is the one with the matching bag. Helen D had some fabric that she stitched a bag up for herself because she's stitching this as well. And she had some left over, and she very generously made this beautiful, beautiful bag that the project sits in. And then every other summer project I ever kind of stitch is going to be fighting for this because I absolutely love this fabric. And it's so cheerful and so much fun. So yeah, one of you had asked, oh, is that the one with the matching bag? You have really good memory. Really good. Okay. And then last, but not least, I didn't stitch. I thought I was going to get, when I was at the hospital, I thought I'd get more stitching in than I did. I'll tell the back and forth story there. So last night, we kind of settled in. We watched, what did we watch? We watched something new. I don't remember. It'll come to me. We watched something. It was kind of getting him ready because he wanted to watch the Celtics game. He's a Celtics fan, so he didn't watch the whole game, needless to say. He was a little upset with that, but whatever. So I had some stitching time last night because he was kind of ensconced and he still couldn't feel his foot at that point, so everything was just fine. So I pulled out this little guy because, again, he makes me smile and think of Shamrock. This is just called, well, here it's called Dog Cross Stitch Pattern. I'm pretty sure on the pattern itself, it's called something like Lovely Colorful Dog. I'm not 100% sure. It's from Wonderland, Ukraine. And I just love it. Makes me smile and think of my Shamrock every single time. Even when I just look at the unstitched, the pattern itself, because it's 2 pages, but most of it is in 1 page. So you can see the eyes and the nose, and you can actually see the dog itself in the pattern. So it always makes me smile when I even see that. So this isn't gonna look like anything right now because I started, whoops, there we go. I started in the middle, top middle, So I got kind of the lighter colors. I'm getting them out of the way, and then I'll finish with the bright, bold colors. But it's challenging. It's a little challenging to see as you're stitching it. So, right, like I said, you're not going to see much right now. This is 18 count Honeydew Melon. So here's my Honeydew. Oh, Serena's underneath a huge pile of things, so I'm not going to bother taking them out right now and show them side by side. Here, it is shades of white, a very pale pink, a very pale yellow, a very pale blue, and you know, you'll have a streak of one, then another, and they're kind of all mixed in. So I'm having a little trouble in this part. It's slow going. So I said, that's it. I'm adding some color to the pattern, and I went down to the dog where the color starts. I mean, the color is going to start on either side as well, but there's a big swath right here of the lighter colors. And it was easier just to come down here. So I said, I'm adding some color. And so I did. And then what I did was I would stitch one of these colors, and then I'd go back and have myself stitch one of these strands, and then do another. And then, so this way I kind of felt like I was still filling in while I was adding some color. So again, doesn't look like much now. Now that this is all kind of coming together, especially when you add all the other colors, I was a little worried as I started that it might fade in too much to this fabric, but I think it's going to be fine. I did want to do kind of a green fabric, just because this is in memory of Shamrock and green, right? So that's why I went. And I pulled out a bunch of greens, and the darker greens, when you get to the bright colors, you want them to be more, you don't want them competing with the fabric, I felt like, for me. So that's why I went with the lighter one. So that's where it is. So not a lot to show at the moment with him, but it'll get there. It'll get there. Okay, because this is a little bit about plans. Actually, this is the plans part of things that I would like to do coming up. And of course, I always value your opinions. I'm going to dip out of the frame for just a second so I can pick the stuff up, and then I'll be back. If I can pick all this up without, there we go. Okay. Now, I have a couple plans of things that I'd like to work on. This goes into my theme for the summer. The other one, not so much, but I have a reason why I'm starting that. So I got to be careful because the pattern is on the other side here. The full pattern's on the other side. This Barbara Anna, it's a newer one. It's called, what is it called? Sailing Dreams. And I absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. And I've gone back and forth on what kind of fabric I would like to do it on. And obviously I have to take into effect, because first thing that would have screamed to me is a blue, but she has so many shades of blue, and they do go against the fabric, that I don't think I could find a shade without doing some mess. And I love it just the way it is. So I'm not 100% sure what I'm showing you will work, but maybe a lighter version of it, I'm not sure. So last week I showed you this fabric from Fortnite Fabrics. It's an 18 count. Okay, so that's what it looks like. And this is my thought, because, you know, summery, I like to do, I've done a few patterns on a kind of this kind of brightish, boldish color summer patterns, and I really like it. My I just blanked on the name of it. There was one that I did that I absolutely loved on this, and it sold me on doing on these kind of colors. But I think that would be beautiful. Now, there are a few colors here among the girl and maybe this fish where this might fade in. The fish is the only thing I'm more concerned about, because with her, she has other colors around her that will not, you know, will make sure that those flosses don't fade in. I do have to check the yellows though. I didn't have all of the yellows pulled for some reason. So that will be the thing I do want to check. Because if the yellows don't show up, because there is a lot of yellow, then I need to be a bit more careful. So that's a thought. I'm playing around with the flosses and some fabrics, so you may see this one coming up in the future because I really, really like it. And I haven't stitched any Barbara Anna, but the pattern looks like it's so much fun to stitch. So that's a plan. And let me, if you've stitched it or if you've started it, let me know what you're doing it on. I'm kind of curious. I would love to hear what other people are doing. And I'd love to see if you have any pictures. Then I'm thinking that Mo is going to be in physical therapy quite a bit after these first couple weeks as he, you know, goes through his recovery. So I need a monochromatic project. I was quickly realizing that I don't really have any monochromatics, and having to change colors and bring all sorts of flosses is going to be a little bit more trouble than it's worth. And odds are, if the weather's nice, I would probably just stay in the car. If he's got therapy, I wouldn't bother going in anywhere. So, you know, then you're constricted to the car, and it would just be easier to have one. So I have two pieces that I'm going to do monochromatic. So I thought I'd show you those because you may see them coming up in the future. The first one is the Jardin Privé. You know how she's doing all 4 seasons and kind of like mini kind of sampleries. This is the spring one. And I don't know if you noticed, but the summer one just came out a few days ago. So you know I'm going to have to make a trip to Jardin Privé and buy myself the summer one. It's cute. If you haven't seen it, go look at it. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm not stitching them. You can stitch them all. She's got it showing where you could stitch them all as one piece. I'm not doing that. I'm going to do each one separately as a season. And my focus is the fabric. I have so many beautiful fabrics that I want the fabric to kind of make the pattern shine, pretty much is how I want to explain it. So I think for spring, I'm going to do some shade of pink, something pink. And then I think for the floss, I will most likely, I was trying to think about how I wanted to do the flosses. Did I want to do all 4 seasons the same color floss, but just different fabrics? But I don't think it really matters because they're not going to be next to each other. So it doesn't need to flow, so to speak. So then I have to think again, but I think I might want to do some sort of navy with the pink. There are several different deeper blues that a DMC has that I really like. So this is where I will pull out my DMC chart and I will just go through and look at all the different ones and shades. And once I have my fabric decided, and then I'll just put the fabric against them and make a decision. And I'll let you know when I get there. If you think a different color floss would work, and I'm doing DMC rather than variegated because I'm using beautiful hand dyed floss, which has variations in it at times too, or the color. So I really don't want a floss that's got variegations to compete with the fabric itself, especially because it is just one piece. So that's my thought process with it. So there's that one. And then the other one, I have had this, I don't know if, was Stitching 911 doing this? She might have been. Stacy was doing this maybe back the end last fall. I think that's when I first saw it. And Mary's Stitching Corner. Mary is stitching this right now. Her and I, we stitch a lot of the same things, or we like what each other is stitching a lot. So you'll see similar items sometimes. Mary is stitching this, and it reminded me I had it, and I did want to do something with it. I just wasn't sure on the fabrics. So it's the, what's the official name? The Black Vintage Sampler from Owl Forest Embroidery. I just always liked that one. I like all the different pieces and different motifs and everything part of it. Now, my thought process for fabric on this one, I'm thinking a blue, but like a smoky blue or a tealish blue or somewhere along those lines. And I think if I do that, I will stitch this in black. I'd probably use the Anchor black. I'm not 100% sure on that. I think what I would do is once I decide the fabric, and that's what's holding me up on this, then I would throw the black on there and then see if there's any other colors of floss. But I think that would be my idea. But for me, I want this something kind of smoky blue is the only way I can really describe it. is what I see in my head. So if I can find that, remember what I did Mary Poppins on? That was beautiful. The problem was that that was an unnamed Bestitch Me. So unless I can figure it out myself or ask Brandy if it's something that she can actually redo. But I mean, this was a couple years ago. So, you know, she's done so many colors. It's not necessarily possible that she could, because that was a pretty color. I'm gonna have to pull that out and look at that as well. And maybe try to find something maybe at like To Die For that's similar in those shades or whatever. So those are the two that are the possibilities for my car stitching for when I'll be in the car quite a bit this summer. Okay, so that's it. Those are the plans. Otherwise, you may see other things pulled out, or I don't know. We just got to come back and see. That's all I'm going to say. All right, shopping. What do I have for shopping? I have fabric. Oh, big surprise, right? Fabric is what I like. You know, I'll take all the DMC flosses and save my money there. And, you know, even the patterns, I'm don't get me wrong, it's not like I deprive myself of patterns I like, but if it comes, my first choice is fabrics, pretty fabrics. So I did an order. I follow Kathy from Dying for Cross Stitch, which is different from then To Die For Cross Stitch. But Kathy, I follow her on Facebook, and she usually tells you when she's added, she kind of does a pseudo fabric of the month. It's not like a one where the normal ones where you've paid ahead and then they send it to you. She says, I'm putting out this color for a fabric of the month, and then you can go and buy it. So I happen to like it. Where is it? I think it's this. No, it's this one over here. It was really pretty, and of course it's blue. So, you know, why not? I had to have it. Maybe this would be pretty for the sampler. It's not quite as smoky as I was thinking. I'll have to pull out some blues and see. So this was the June fabric of the month, 18 count now. 18 count Aida from Dying for Cross Stitch, right? Yeah, I want to make sure I say the right one. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I picked this, and I picked 2 ready to ships, so they came pretty quickly. She's pretty quick too as a hand dyer. She's not one of those that takes, you know, 8 to 10 weeks. She's pretty quick when you want something hand dyed. So I picked that up. That's classified as the fabric of the month. And yeah, we'll see. Like I said, it might not be quite as smoky as I want, but I think that'd be pretty actually. So that's a thought. Then I went and I looked. I think these were in her ready to make. I think they were in the ready to ship. I'm not 100% sure. Thinking about it. Maybe they weren't, but she was just really quick on the dyeing. I'm not going to say they were or not. But what Kathy does, which I find is really interesting now, is she has a color and she will dye it as a light, a medium, and a dark. And invariably, I seem to like the light versions of all of these. Those are the ones I'm drawn to. For whatever reason. But it's really kind of cool to see the transition. So if you liked the color, but you wanted it a little lighter or a little darker, that option is really a useful one. So these 2 are both in the light category. This first one is called Oasis. Everything's 18 count. This is called Oasis, and it's the light version of that color. Isn't that pretty? Super, super nice. And then this one is called Butterscotch, and is the light version of Butterscotch, 18 count. Again, super pretty. And if the other color for the Barber Anna doesn't quite work, this is a little bit different of a shade. Maybe I'll try this one as a possibility for the Barber Anna as well. I'll throw the flosses on it and see, because that other one has a bit more yellows, and I don't know if the yellows would blend in where they might look better on this. We'll see. So those were the 3 that I got from Dying for Cross Stitch, and then I have 2 fabric of the months to show you. I have Color and Cotton, and this is the June. So if you do not want to see, I get the 18 count Aida, and this is called Spacious Skies. Isn't that pretty? And look what I've got to show you. that might look pretty against that, right? This week's giveaway, the spring birds. The other one I showed you might be a little dark, but this one might work. So there's that. Okay, if you are fine, you can look back now. And then I just got in. She was running late because she just opened up a storefront under the Sea Fabrics. So her, what is this? This was May. Yeah, this was May because now it's into June. This was the May fabric, and then I think she's giving June and July break. She's not doing fabric again for fabric of the month until August. This is called, and I always have to look, it's in such tiny letters, Hanami. Oops. And I kind of showed it if you didn't want to see. This is the 18 count version. So look away. Hanami is the name of it. And what's really interesting, this is like a tale of two fabrics. So I'm going to show you this side. You can see what's more of the dominant color on this side. And then look at this side. You can see which is the more dominant color there. She does, her fabric of the month is a big piece. So look at that. So I could easily kind of, depending on what I was working on, I could easily kind of cut this down a bit with whatever I wanted as a focus. Okay, it's done. It's back. Okay, and that's it. That's all the shopping I've got. Again, too, because I'm looking at some of these monochromatic pieces, I'm really focusing on fabric. And you know me, I love doing the hand-dyed fabrics for my pieces anyway. So that's always forefront in my mind. It's the first thing, if I feel like shopping, it's always the first thing I do is look for fabrics. Okay, that's it. Giveaways. Let's talk giveaways. I do want to do a quick one. Well, I want to say a very big thank you to my giveaway winners who have gotten back to me and are very patient. I am behind on shipping just because of all this stuff with Mo. Monday is a postal holiday. There'll be no mail on Monday. So if I can get my act together and maybe package everything up on Monday, then I can hopefully ship it out at the beginning of next week. So it's coming, I promise. I can actually see it. I've got your names on the different things. I just have to package them up and ship them out. But I do want to do a reminder because I did not hear from the Bluebird Salute winner. So it's Diana. And Diana, I'm not 100% sure how to say your last name. Ballet? I'm not 100% sure. But you have one more week to get back to me. Next video, I will pick a new winner for this giveaway. So I'm going to put this over here so I don't lose Diana's name. Okay. And then this week, so this week's giveaway we talked about is this adorable from Cottage Needleworks, the Spring Birds pattern. So cute, bright and cheerful. If that's not a bright, cheerful, colorful piece, I don't know what is. And I'm definitely, like I said, I'm on the hunt for the bright blue. They do actually stitch on a blue as well. What I'll do is, and I don't know why I didn't even think of it. I was at Michael's getting floss, and I totally forgot to figure out if I needed any floss for this or if I have it. Because I'll pull the floss and then just do a bunch of floss tosses. So our winner, who's the winner? Pull the pieces apart, and let me do it on a fabric that everybody could see. Bonnie Sheffer. Let me put your name out there, Bonnie. Congratulations, you won the Spring Birds pattern. So if you could get back to me with your address, I will send that out to you. So Bonnie, I'm gonna put this back in the plastic and your name goes right in there for me for now so that I know that it's yours. Okay, so that's that. What are we doing this week? We're taking a little detour away from patterns this week, and we're going to do a little bit of accessory finishing sort of things. So remember I told you I like purple. So we're going to do a little bit of a purple focus. You know, this can help you for finishing with Easter pieces or spring pieces, or look at me, I'm doing purple for my Christmas stuff. So there's an option there too. I've got two different finishing items. I have 3 yards of petite chenille. Let me show you the color. It is called Lilac. It's hand dyed from Vintage Needlearts. So there's that. And then I'm going to also give you 3 yards. I got to pull the 3 yards off of this. Let me see. I think I have the names of it. Let me see if this is just called Lilac. It's from the Twinery. I don't know if they're still in business or not. But I will also take off 3 yards of this. So you will have a lighter lilac and a deeper lilac. And you can use them for some finishing. So, could you say the word purple? Just say the word purple anywhere in your comments, and I will put your name in the blue bowl and pick a winner for the 3 yards already cut and done from this, and then I will cut you 3 yards of the twine. It's baker's twine. It's a great way to finish things. I love actually wrapping it on cards too. I do that as well for some of my designs. So that's that. Okay, so that's the giveaway. Just say the word purple. And that's the stitching. Oh my goodness, I just rambled. You could tell I needed people to talk to. It's been kind of a quiet week for people talking. So if you don't want to hear the life stuff, have a fabulous week. Please try to, if you're in the US, please, or anywhere where it's warm right now, please, I hope you stay cool. I've heard it's chilly on the other side of the world, so stay warm. And I will see you next week. So life stuff. Obviously, we know what dominated my week this week was Mo's surgery. Mo had surgery yesterday. He needed to go in for COVID testing on Monday. So we did that. And then, you know, there's just all sorts of prep stuff, you know, as you're getting ready and all that kind of stuff. So there's just more intensive care to get him ready. So yesterday he was called on Wednesday and said for tomorrow to come into the hospital for 9:45, which was a little disappointing. We were hoping it would be earlier because they have you come in, as we've learned, and your surgery is probably a good hour and a half after that. So surgery would be scheduled closer to 11:15, 11:30. So we actually were kind of waiting around yesterday morning, you know, because the hospital is only maybe 20 minutes away, tops. That's with traffic. So it's not like it's that far away or whatever. So we were kind of just, you know, I did a little bit of stitching and we were just kind of puttering and waiting to go. And it was awful thunderstorms. The thunder was right over us at one time, huge booms. And luckily, while driving, there wasn't because there was lots of lightning and big booms of thunder. And then some rain, not as much rain, but luckily during the driving part, it kind of waned a bit because I would jump about 10 feet if one of those big booms happened right while I was in the car. So we got him to the hospital, you know, got him, all the stuff they do ahead of time. They take him for a little bit, then I can come in and sit with him while we're waiting. Doctor comes in, talks to us, anesthesiologist comes in, nurse, there's a whole different crew of people that come in, give him all the stuff, instructions of what's going to happen and everything else. So they get ready to put him under, and with him they needed to do a nerve block, I guess, because however they're doing it, type of thing. So they did the one thing and then they were going to take him and do all the other stuff. So one of the nurses told me that, okay, he'll be done in 3 hours. The doctor had said 2 hours. I wasn't really sure. So because it was such an extensive wait, I decided to come home because we are so close. So I came home. I figured I'll give myself an hour at home and then I'll go back. So I came home, had a little bit of lunch. I burnt myself with some boiling water. That was just par for the course, right? You know, it was like water went flying, you know, it figured, right? And just as I'm ready to walk out the door, the doctor calls, said that his part of the surgery is done. Obviously, then there's, you know, the post, whatever. Surgery went well. It was completely torn. So we needed a complete, you know, reattachment of the both sides, but it seemed to go well, and that he was going to be casted for the next 2 weeks before we'd see the doctor again. No weight bearing. Elevation, no weight bearing. The ice part kind of cracks me up because there's no way ice is actually getting through this thing. But anyway, so that was it. I was heading out the door anyway, so I went back to the hospital. He was still, I couldn't see him at that point yet. By the time I got back, they give you a little number and you look up on the list, and he's still in that area that he's coming out of things and doing all whatever. So you know, once he was in the actual part where you could come back and visit again, then they came back and they do all this stuff and you wait and there's instructions and all that other stuff and everything else. So everything seemed to go well. They did say because they gave him the nerve block, that would last, what, I think they said 12 to 18 hours. So he wouldn't feel his foot for a while. And they said, when you go to bed, and they gave him a prescription for the heavier duty pain meds. You might want to take one type of thing because it'll wear off probably about 2 in the morning, and then you'll be in a lot of pain. So he ended up staying up probably almost to midnight. No, not 11-ish, 11:30-ish, because of the game. He was surprisingly alert. I thought he'd be exhausted, but he wasn't. So he took something then. He still hadn't gotten to the point where he wasn't feeling anything with the foot. So that was good, at least. I was hoping, okay, then if he takes something, then he'll be able to sleep. Surprisingly, though, he was just, I don't know, kind of wired-ish. So he didn't sleep great, he said this morning, but he said his foot was feeling okay when he woke up. Like, you know, because at that point, that pain medication would have worn off. So I was thinking, boy, his foot would really hurt. So he just decided to go with ibuprofen this morning because I want to say maybe a couple hours after we got up, right before I went to tape, he said, it's aching a tiny bit, so I'm going to take some ibuprofen. He's got the other stuff if he needs it because they said you can mix and match. So, you know, I guess he'll use it if he needs it, but why take it if you don't really need it, right? So that's where we are right now. He is in this big, giant, bulky cast thing that he can't weight bear. He's he does have the crutches to get around, and then we did go get a scooter. We ordered it so that he could put his knee up on it and then scooter himself around. I think he'd use that more out of the house. He seems to be fine. Like, he's got himself used to the crutches, although I'll hear bangs and things, and I'm like, what'd you do? Did you fall? He's like, no, I just dropped the crutch. But so far he is in, you know, the only thing is he can't carry anything, so I'm carrying things everywhere for him. But we see that we've already got the appointment with the doctor for 2 weeks from yesterday. So I think then it comes off and he goes back into the boot, and they've got all these wedges in the boot, and they start working on physical therapy, or I don't know, they had given us a protocol. So we'll have to look at that again and see what needs to be done. So thank you so much. I said to Mo this week that he had so many well wishes and prayers and thoughts from people all over the world. So this thing had to go well because there were so many of you pulling for us. So I am so forever grateful for that. And thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for, many of you had stories to share of people who have experienced the same thing, or some of you had injuries that weren't that injury but would qualify as similar to what you'd experience with the Achilles. So thank you so much, because that all really helped, you know, and it made me feel better about recovery and what his long-term process is to get back to pickleball. So thank you so much for all of that, and your suggestions and help for me and support. That I really appreciate it. Yeah, his goal is to get this thing rehabbed and get back to pickleball. So that's hopefully an incentive for him to do everything he's supposed to do, and that way everything will go well. But we couldn't, mentally and emotionally, I would have done it. I mean, obviously we would have done it, but what you gave to me and the support you brought to me helped me through it immensely. Thank you. So thank you. And some of you have checked up and everything else since. So thank you. Thank you for checking in and checking up and all that great stuff. I do appreciate it. Other than that, I got nothing. I got nothing life-wise. And Sunday's Father's Day. He's not going anywhere. It's going to get nicer. Today is supposed to be 94. Now, I know some of you are battling, you know, day after day after day of this heat and crazy heat, humidity and heat and whatever. We've just got it today. He has to stay in because the nurse said we do not want you getting sweaty and then everything getting wet in your cast. But maybe on Sunday, if it's nice, we can go out we have a screened porch. So we can spend some time out on the screened porch and just, you know, we prop his leg up and we put him in a seat, and, you know, so hopefully at least if the weather's nice, we can kind of enjoy just something of that, because it's going to be a quiet weekend otherwise. So we are going to keep it quiet. And he's got Monday off from work. So this worked out perfectly because he took yesterday and today off. And then Monday is a holiday. So the holiday's Sunday, but they give him Monday off. So he doesn't have to go back to work until Tuesday, which is fantastic. Of course, this morning he was sending an email. He's like, I have one email I forgot to send. I'm like, all right, you can do what you want, but you're supposed to be on vacation. So that's nice. He'll have a chance to, good 4 days to start to feel better, and then he'll hobble to the front room in the front of the house, plop his leg up and work that way. But it's good in case he does need that heavier duty medication. You're not going to be doing work while you're doing that, taking that stuff. So that's it. So our plans are quiet. My week is going to be quiet. I was supposed to head up. I had told you I was probably going to be seeing you from Connecticut. I was supposed to have an eye doctor's appointment next week, but there's no way I can go up and leave him. I think there's a stretch where Connor's working every day, so then he'd be by himself, and it wouldn't work. So I've already rescheduled they were great. It was easy. I rescheduled my eye appointment. So I am not heading up to Connecticut. I am staying down here for a while yet. So life will hopefully be just like status quo, hanging out at the house and stitching. That'll be about it. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got. And I'm rambling over an hour again. So I always say, hope you get lots of good stitching in while you're listening to this. I know I stitch whenever I watch Flosstube. So hopefully you've gotten some stuff in too. And if it is extremely hot, I hope you are staying cool. And if it's extremely cold, I hope you're keeping warm. I'm thinking about all of you, whether it's hot or cold. We just happen to be in it's not even, well, I wouldn't even say the depths of summer yet, because we haven't even hit the first day of summer yet. I'm enjoying the beautiful late nights, but that will start obviously getting shorter each day after next week. But we'll enjoy what we got while we got it, right? So I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. I hope everything is going okay wherever you are, that you're getting some stitching in and enjoying whatever you are doing right now, whether it's in a summer or a winter fashion. I'm so thankful for each and every one of you. And I guess until next time, happy stitching.